Hello, this is Laurie Shank, Bariatric Dietitian with St. Luke's Weight Management Center. Today we're going to discuss the different milk options that are commonly available. This is important for the post-bariatric surgery patient as milk is a good source of many key nutrients. The main sugar in milk is called lactose. Interestingly enough, adult humans are naturally lactose intolerant, which means they cannot digest lactose. The ability to digest this milk sugar is a genetic mutation which occurred thousands of years ago. As you can see from this map, lactose intolerance is still prevalent in many areas. The most commonly drank milk in the United States is cow's milk. In the U.S., commercially available milk is first both pasteurized and homogenized. Pasteurization heats the milk to a very high temperature and kills almost all of the bacteria, which prevents foodborne illness. Homogenization prevents the milk from separating when standing. Milk is a good source of naturally occurring carbohydrates, which is the milk sugar, and protein, as well as several key nutrients such as calcium, potassium, and vitamins A and D. Regular cow's milk is 4% milk fat, all of which is saturated, and 1 8-ounce glass of milk is about the same amount of protein as 1 ounce of meat. This is a comparison chart of the different types of milk that are typically available. Whole, plain cow's milk is 4% milk fat, and reduced fat milk is 2% fat, which is half of the fat of whole milk. Low-fat milk is 1% milk fat, or half the fat of 2%, and skim milk is fat-free. The removal of the fat does not significantly affect the nutrient quality. As you can see from this chart, the amount of protein, carbohydrate, calcium, and vitamins is mostly constant. There are no significant differences there, whereas the amount of calories, fat, and cholesterol decreases as more fat is skimmed out of the milk. This is another product that you might not be familiar with. This is called Ultra Skim, and this is for people who are not used to drinking skim milk and like the thick texture of whole milk. This is actually fat-free skim milk, and they use a thickener called carrageenan, which is a natural thickener that's extracted from edible seaweeds. And what that does is it thickens the milk to give it the same texture as a whole milk. Carrageenan is used in many other food products for gelling and thickening and stabilizing. This is another product called Skim Plus. It's fat-free milk, but it is a little bit higher in protein than plain skim milk. It is a little bit also higher in carbohydrates and calories, but it's a good option if you are having difficulty meeting your daily protein needs. And for those of you who cannot tolerate the lactose in regular cow's milk, Lactaid is an easy option. Lactaid can also come in whole, reduced fat, low fat, or fat-free. But the difference with Lactaid is that they pre-treat it with the lactase enzyme so that the lactose in the milk is already digested. Therefore, people with lactose intolerance can still drink Lactaid milk. Nutritionally, it's the same as regular milk in regards to vitamins, minerals, and protein. However, it might have a slightly sweeter taste because the milk sugar is already partially broken down. Now, talking about raw milk, which tends to be a little popular nowadays in the public, it's important to note that raw milk, the difference between that and commercially available milk is that it is not pasteurized, which means it is not heated up to kill the bacteria. Therefore, it's not recommended by the Center for Disease Control or the National Institute of Health to consume raw milk. Actually, Each state makes its own laws about selling raw milk within its state borders. Half of the states in the United States sell raw milk directly to the consumers, whereas about the other half of the United States, sale of raw milk is illegal. Interestingly enough, those states where the sale of raw milk is legal within state borders also see higher incidence of foodborne illnesses related to that. So there is a word of caution about that. Organic milk is also popular in today's society. Organic milk tends to have more to do with the treatment and the feed of the cattle. They are not treated with hormones. Recombinant bovine growth hormone, that increases milk production, and organic cows are not injected with synthetic RVHG or steroids or antibiotics. For the most part, there are no significant nutritional differences between organic milk and regular milk. And in other countries, especially, sheep's milk and goat's milks are also consumed. It is important to note that goat's milk is not recommended for consumption by human infants. That's very strongly emphasized by the Center for Disease Control and the National Institute of Health. And it's also important to note that sheep's milk tends to be much higher in fat and calories than cow's milk or goat's milk. They also do have the same amount of carbohydrates and some vitamins and minerals, but some lower B vitamin levels. This is just a comparison per 8-ounce cup of sheep's milk and goat's milk. These are each the whole milk version, so the full fat versions. Notice that for sheep's milk, the calcium is a little bit higher, but also it's significantly higher in fat and calories than goat's milk. Goat's milk tends to be a little more comparable to cow's milk in nutrient composition. And for your non-dairy milks, which might be useful for any vegans out there, there are many different options available. One popular choice is soy milk. Soy milk can come in flavored varieties, such as this picture here, which is a vanilla-flavored soy milk. It can come in unflavored. It can come in low-calorie versions or light versions. Generally, the sweetened soy milks will be higher in sugar due to the flavoring. But soy milk is also a good source of non-animal-based protein. It has just about the same amount of protein per cup as cow's milk does. Also, because it is a plant-based product, there is no saturated fat or cholesterol in it. And most soy milks are fortified with calcium, so they tend to have the same mineral quantity as cow's milk. Another thing about soy is that any soy product has estrogen compounds in it, which are thought to have several different health benefits. Almond milk is another popular choice. When it comes to almond milk, it is lower calorie than cow's milk or soy milk, about 40 to 60 calories per cup. However, it's not a good source of protein. It's generally less than 1 gram of protein per cup. So it's not a good choice if you need extra protein in your diet. However, it does also have calcium and vitamin B12 and vitamin E in it as well. So nutritionally, lower calorie, but you're not getting the protein. Coconut milk is another popular choice. There is a significant difference between coconut milk and coconut water, which we'll explore here. Now, coconut milk is made from the brown, ripe coconut, and they take the white flesh of the coconut and they grind it and mix it with water to make coconut milk. Because of that, the coconut milk is high in saturated fat, which is the heart unhealthy type, which tends to cause plaque in your arteries. Soy milk, coconut milk is also not a very good source of protein. However, it is also fortified with calcium as well. And then what's the difference between coconut milk and coconut water? In coconut water, they are taking the green, immature coconuts and using the liquid from inside of the coconut. So unlike coconut milk, coconut water is from the liquid inside and not the white flesh of the fruit. It has been promoted as a sports drink because it is hydration and it is high in electrolytes such as potassium. However, a better choice for most people is just to drink water unless you're training for more than an hour a day. It is less than half the calories of fruit juice or dairy milk and no fat. So it is very low calorie and it does have potassium in it. And then another option is hemp milk. To make hemp milk, they use hemp seeds. They soak them overnight and grind them in water. It does have a nuttier taste, but you also don't need to worry. There is no THC transfer into hemp milk products. It is very low carbohydrate and very little protein, but it also is higher in fat. And as you see here on this label, it does have omega-3 and omega-6. Those are the heart-healthy types of fats. It also is fortified with calcium, vitamin D, and vitamin B12. Rice milk is another option. I would not recommend rice milk to supplement your protein intake. Rice milk generally is a very watery, mild taste. It is hypoallergenic. There's no lactose in it. However, there also is no protein and no fat. It is mainly just carbohydrate that you're getting in rice milk. Rice milk is also often fortified with calcium, iron, B3, and B12. However, it is important to note that calcium and iron, when taken together, do compete for absorption, so you might not absorb either one very efficiently. And here is an overall nutrient chart to compare the different types of milk that we just discussed. Across the top, you'll see the whole full fat versions of cow's milk, sheep's milk, and goat's milk, as well as original soy milk, original almond milk, coconut milk versus coconut water, hemp milk, and rice milk. And as you can see here, the calories differ quite a bit, the highest being the sheep's milk, as well as the grams of fat. Coconut water, 0 grams of fat, whereas whole sheep's milk goes all the way up to 17. The grams of carbohydrates are pretty much the same between all of your animal-based milks, and coconut water is about the same amount of carbohydrates. As you can see, rice milk is just about twice the amount of carbohydrate as like a cow's milk or the coconut water. But if you're looking for a good protein source, most of the plant-based milks are not going to get you much protein. You're mainly going to get a good amount of protein from your animal-based milks, like your cow's milk or goat's milk, or the soy milk. However, the calcium and vitamin D are pretty comparable between all of the milks, as the plant-based milks tend to be fortified with calcium and D for the most part. The only one of these options that would not give you calcium or vitamin D in significant amounts would be the coconut water. So that'll give you a general idea of some options to choose and some options that might not be good for after bariatric surgery. And thank you for listening today. I hope you learned something important. Thanks again.